Hello, I'm Lee Houston, Head of Product at Zen. I've been joined by my counterpart, Ian Newbury, Head of Product at CityFibre. We're down in their training facility in Milton Keynes, and the plan for this session is to run through some of the frequently asked questions that we receive. So let's start with a very simple one. Full fibre versus the traditional telephony or infrastructure such as copper and SGS. What are the key differences from a customer perspective?
It's all about where you are in technology evolution. So copper has been an amazing technology for us. It's given us the internet, but it's 100 years old. And we've taken it as far as we can take it. Fibre's the next generation. So whereas you talk about bandwidths up to 100 meg on copper, when you talk about fibre, your bandwidths start at 100 guaranteed. With copper, it's an up to speed. With fibre, it's guaranteed. The other thing is it's more resilient, it's more modern, and we don't know how fast it can go yet. We're still getting faster and faster. So copper, brilliant technology, but legacy, fibre, technology for the future.
Great, and I think it would be fair to say, would it, Ian, that there are certain influences that can degrade that copper infrastructure. So weather, as an example of that, can cause an interference with the customer's experience.
So there's several things. So firstly, copper is electrical current over a piece of metal, over a copper line. So anything that wanders into that copper signal path will interfere. I think most of us have experienced at Christmas our broadband going down.
Yep.
Quite often the Christmas lights come out and the signal path interferes, it takes the broadband down. Some microwave ovens, we've had TVs. For those kind of more nerdy amongst us, random equipment interference noise, rain. But that's not the only kind of rain that can affect copper. The rain that comes out of the sky also affects the copper, affecting the speed. We don't get any of that on fibre because it's light down glass in an insulated path.
Great. And one of the statistics that we hear is that full fibre is 60% more reliable, or there's a 60% less failure rate than copper. Is that a statistic that you recognise at CityFibre?
I think that sounds low. I think fibre's a lot more reliable, and it's a mix of, one, it's more modern technology, but also it's newer technology. You're not dealing with a piece of copper that's been in the ground for 100 years. You're dealing with a new technology that's freshly insulated and built for the future. Sure.
And would it be fair to say that historically the limiting factor in the speeds that a customer could enjoy has been the copper that's in the ground, whereas now that we're moving to full fibre to fibre optic, is that infrastructure has the potential to unlimited capacity in the future?
Absolutely. We don't know how far it could go. We've had terabit connections. We're talking multiple gigs to people's homes now. It's come a hell of a long way from when we began.
Brilliant. So I'm going to move on slightly and just talk about the customer experience from an installation process. So many of our customers will be familiar with the OpenReach journey. Yeah. How does that compare to a CityFibre installation?
So we follow a similar journey from a KCI perspective, so keep your customer informed. Okay. But one of the biggest differences, we use a permission to work form. And what this does is it gives us all the permissions up front to access a property and do the work that's needed to install the fibre. This can reduce your lead times by up to 50%. Okay. So, and the beauty of the PTW as well, it's not something CityFibre do. Your sales advisors can fill out the permission to work and get that acceleration. So it helps us go faster. We think we can go faster.
Great, and sticking with the installation process, we love an acronym in our industry, don't we?
I'll throw a few out to you today.
You have already? One of them is RFS. So what does RFS mean in relation to the order journey?
So RFS is ready for service, and this is how we describe the status of our network. So an RFS 0 is there's fibre in the vicinity, but it's not outside the premises yet. It's got something called a soft lock on it. Okay. Lock, limit of construction, acronym again. Sorry about that. And that means usually that we need permission to do something. It might be a soft dig across someone's land. It might be taking up some tiles. So the PTW is so important to avoid that. RFS 1, we've built past your premise. RFS 2, we've built to your premise. RFS 3, it is now ready to go live. And my favourite of all of them, RFS 4, we're live.
Great, I love that. So look, as product guys, we love to geek out on the technology, the infrastructure. There are two types of network. There's the GPON network, more acronyms, I'm sorry, and there's the XGS-PON network. So what are the difference between the two?
So dealing with the easy acronym first, which is PON, Passive Optical Network. Okay. And the beauty of the passive part of it is it doesn't require powering that part of it. The optical passes through. That allows us to put less equipment at intermediary parts of the network, improving our carbon footprint. The beauty of the XGS-PON network, it's a new network, so it doesn't need lots of changes, really helping reduce that carbon footprint. But now if we go to the G, the G on a GPON network stands for gigabit. So the maximum speed of a GPON network is a 1 gig connection. An XGS-PON network is X is Roman numerals 10, G is gigabit, so 10 gig. But the most important word for me on that is the S. S is symmetrical. So if you think back to the early days of the internet, you'd have a lot of key commands of, I would like to see what the beach in Fiji looks like, and you'd download a big picture file showing you what that looks like. The world's changed. I don't know if it's the same for you and you guys working at home right now, but for us, I spend a lot of time on video calls.
Me too.
I spend a lot of time sending stuff to the cloud. So I'm uploading as much as I'm taking now. So you really need, for the future, a symmetrical connection. So XGS-PON gives us 10 gig, and it gives us symmetrical.
And is that how most of your network is now built?
That's how all of our network is built.
Brilliant, great. And speaking of network build, I think you're past 4 million premises now?
4.7.
4.7 million premises passed. So what does the future look like in terms of the rollout plan? You know, how far are you going to go across the country, all of those sort of things?
So we've always said that we want to get to 8 million homes passed. Rest assured, our internal target is far higher.
Okay.
Up until last year, a lot of that was we were a network builder. And we built those 4.7 million homes. Well, most of those 4.7 million homes. Our strategy has changed because lots of people are building networks in the UK. We are now a network acquirer. So we're going to be working with the altnets in the UK to buy them and create scale for the UK and for our partners like yourself to get more CityFibre footprint faster.
Great, and I think you acquired, was it Connexin in
Hull?
Yep, recently. So when you acquire a network like that, how long does it take for you to integrate? And more importantly, how long does it take for my customers to get access to it?
So whenever we buy a network, we always look at a few factors. Is it complementary footprint? Sure. How hard is it to integrate? Because that tells us how quickly we can get live and expose that footprint to our customers. To date, it's taken roughly 12 months to get a network live, but we are getting better and better at this, and we will get faster and faster. We would like to be sub 6 months from completing the deal to exposing that footprint to you.
Brilliant, and it sounds like there are some irons in the fire for future acquisitions by the sound of things.
We are talking to everybody in the UK.
Great answer. Right. So moving back to the product slightly, I would say that the lines have blurred over the recent maybe year, 12 months between what is traditional full fibre and what is Ethernet, like a dedicated lease line. Yeah. However, we've now got this product that sits in the centre that we refer to as Ethernet over FTTP or EOFTTP. Yeah. CityFibre recently launched their Flex product. Yep. So could you explain to our viewers the difference between Flex versus a leased line as we traditionally know it?
Absolutely. So when I looked at my business portfolio, I had FTTP and that was committing 70 meg with a burst of up to 8 gig.
Okay.
And then I had my 100 meg product, which was guaranteeing 100 meg, and I had my 1 gig product that was guaranteeing 1 gig. I was looking for that stepping stone between. How does a customer that wants more than 70 meg guaranteed, more than 100 meg guaranteed, but isn't ready for the full investment of a gig yet? And so we come up with Ethernet Flex. And what Ethernet Flex does is it gives all the complex journeys that come with Ethernet, so it's business ready.
Sure.
It gives all the service level guarantees of Ethernet. It's 200 meg guaranteed, which means you're going to get 1 gig most of the time because it's a 1 gig burst speed.
Okay.
And then even when the network's super busy, you'll still get your 200 meg guaranteed. But probably the most popular point on it right now is the fraction of the price of an Ethernet 1 gig.
Great, and look, we're certainly seeing a growing demand for that sort of product as customers wanting that committed higher bandwidth with all of the benefits of Ethernet, but obviously the Flex is at a much reduced price. So that's great. And look, last question for me is, we spoke before about the XGS-PON network that you've built, and that has the capability to go up to 10 gig. However, we currently only sell products, certainly to consumers, are up to 2.5 gig. So what are your plans to go beyond that 2.5?
So we've recently announced 8.5 gig, and we are about to launch a trial internally for our 50 gig PON. So after you've got GPON, XGS-PON, and then 50 gig PON's the next step. So we're already, whilst this won't be mainstream for a short while, we're already testing the next stage. We think we can go over 40 gig on the 50 gig PON when we're ready. So we really are trying to build for the future.
But just thinking about that though, the question that I always receive is, certainly in a consumer context, is, does a consumer really need an 8.5 gig product at their home?
I think back to 40 years ago, and I'm showing my age a little bit here now, but the M25 was being built, and I remember driving to my nan's house in London and my dad saying, we're never going to need 3 lanes. The M25 is now called the largest car park in the UK.
True.
So our job is to build it and put the infrastructure in place so as technology matures and new use cases come to market.
Sure.
We don't have to do it. We don't have to catch up. The network is there ready to consume it.
Brilliant. Well, look, thank you very much, Ian. I very much enjoyed that conversation. I hope you have too. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, everybody.